Let me give you the number one reason why you're not getting rich. It's not your job. It's not your education. It's actually your programming. Here's how to rewire your brain in 7 days. This is out. Most people will never get rich, and it's not because they don't work hard enough. It's because they've been programmed to think like poor people from day one. So here's what's crazy. There are two completely different operating systems running in people's brains when it comes to money. Poor people run on what I call the scarcity program, while rich people run on the abundance program. And the wild part? Most people don't even know which program they're running. Let me break this down for you. Poor people see money as something you trade time for. Work 8 hours, get paid for 8 hours. It's a direct exchange. But rich people? They see money as something that works for them while they sleep. They understand that time and money aren't connected at all. But here's where it gets really interesting. Poor people think in terms of expenses. How much does this cost? How much will I spend? Rich people think in terms of investments. How much will this make me? What's the return on this? And this creates a completely different reality. When a poor person sees a $1,000 course, they think, I can't afford to spend $1,000. When a rich person sees the same course, they think, I can't afford not to invest $1,000 if it'll make me $10,000. Same course. Same price. Completely different mental processing. But that's not even the craziest part. The craziest part is how this affects every single decision they make. Poor people ask, how much does it cost? Rich people ask, how much does it pay? Poor people focus on saving money. Rich people focus on making money. And here's the thing that blew my mind when I first learned this. Rich people actually spend more money than poor people. Way more. But they spend it on things that make them money. Poor people spend less, but they spend it on things that cost them money. Think about it. A poor person buys a cheap car to save money on the monthly payment. A rich person buys an expensive car and writes it off as a business expense while using it to close bigger deals. Same need for transportation. Completely different approach. But here's what's really wild about this whole thing. Most people think rich people are just lucky or born into it. But the truth is, wealth is a skill. And like any skill, it can be learned. The problem is, nobody teaches you how to think like a rich person. School teaches you to be an employee. Your parents teach you to be safe. Society teaches you to fit in. But nobody teaches you to build wealth. And that's the silent hack rich people use. They reprogram their brain to think differently about money. They change their internal operating system from scarcity to abundance, from employee to owner, from spender to investor. Here's how this shows up in real life. When poor people get extra money, they think about what they can buy. When rich people get extra money, they think about what they can build. Poor people see problems as obstacles. Rich people see problems as opportunities. Poor people avoid risk because they're afraid of losing money. Rich people take calculated risks because they're afraid of missing opportunities. And this is the part that most people never understand. Rich people aren't fearless. They're just as scared as everyone else. The difference is they're more afraid of staying poor than they are of taking risks. Poor people are more afraid of taking risks than they are of staying poor. So they make completely different choices. When poor people see successful people, they think they're so lucky. When rich people see successful people, they think, what did they do that I can learn from? Poor people focus on the outcome. Rich people focus on the process. And here's something that'll probably surprise you. Rich people fail more than poor people. Way more. But they fail forward. Every failure teaches them something. Every mistake makes them smarter. Poor people try to avoid failure, so they never learn how to handle it when it happens. Rich people embrace failure as part of the process. Poor people see failure as proof they should quit. But here's the most important part of all this. You can change your programming. You can switch from the scarcity operating system to the abundance operating system. But you have to make a conscious decision to do it. Most people never make this switch because they don't even know it exists. They think their current way of thinking about money is just reality. But it's not reality. It's just programming, and programming can be changed. The question is, Are you going to keep running on the same program that keeps most people broke, or are you going to upgrade to the operating system that creates wealth? Because here's what I know for sure, the people who understand this psychology and make the switch, they're the ones who end up building real wealth. The ones who don't, they stay exactly where they are. If you found this helpful and want me to personally help you to transform from an overwhelmed beginner into a confident, successful entrepreneur, you can join my Beginner's Market Entry Decisions Guide below.